Awesome. We have another wonderful case study with beautiful Jessica. And I am so delighted for this case study because you and I had so many similarities in common. Like I remember there was a particular message that we were sharing, and there was a lot of similar life circumstances that got you on the
Yeah.
spiritual path. So I'm really excited for people to get to know a little bit about you. So can you just tell us, like, obviously the basics, like what's your name, where are you from, how long have you been in the industry, and where are you now?
Yeah. Okay. My name is Jessica. I am in Arlington, which is right between Dallas and Fort Worth here in Texas. I have been in the industry for 16 years. I've spent a huge chunk of my career with Aveda. I am now with Davines because I'm an independent salon owner. I own this lovely little salon in my home. And yeah, so energy work and chakras and all the things was very much a part of Aveda culture. And
Yes.
it inspired me to keep up with that. Um, and yeah, going out on my own and having to switch color lines and product lines was intimidating for
Sure.
sure.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
It
I
was a little
think,
wild.
yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were at a commission salon for a really long time. Like you had been like a loyal member of that team for, I think, how many years was it?
11 years.
That's
I
what
was
I
there from
thought.
the day we opened to the day we closed.
Right.
Yeah.
So you like grew in that space. You helped like educate and train people. You were really just
Right.
like part of that foundation, right, from the very beginning.
Right.
So
Hmm.
what a big shift for you to then go out on your own.
Yeah.
And when did you do that? And when
And
did you
not
do
have
that?
anybody. Um, February will be 2 years. So February
Nice.
2022. Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah. Yeah.
share as much as you like, but like what inspired you to do that?
Well, COVID hit our business really hard, like it did a lot of businesses, and um, it just wasn't working anymore. And so the decision was made to close the salon. And we were really blessed to be in a situation where we had mega notice.
Hmm.
And so we were very much able to ethically tell our clients what was going on, what the plan was, and this is where I'm going, or this is what I'm doing, or this is what my plan is. But I didn't know what that was for a while. I considered going to other Aveda salons, but
Sure.
I didn't want to go to Dallas or Fort Worth. Just for this season of life that I'm in, I want to be a more present parent.
Hmm.
So I wanted to stay in the Arlington area. So I kind of let the Aveda thing go, and I said, okay, well, I'll take another route. Then I looked into leasing salon suites or rental spaces.
Sure.
And I have a lot of friends who do that who are very successful and love it. Um, it just didn't feel right for me.
I get that. I did it. I did
It,
it. I did it for a year or so, and I didn't like it either.
yeah, it didn't feel right for me. And no shame to anyone who does that. I just couldn't wrap my brain around committing to working or paying to work and all these things, like that. I was just like, oh, okay, well, what else can I do? And I have a friend who has her own home salon. And I have to admit, I was very skeptical because I thought there's no way that she makes good enough money or the kind of money that I want to working from home or whatever. And she
Sure.
just kind of sat me down and said, it's totally possible. And
Nice.
kind of ran through everything with me and mentored me and guided me through that process of opening my own salon here in my home. And hadn't looked back since.
That's great.
Uh,
Please tell us the name of your company.
it's Badass Beauty and Healing.
Which you had before we met. So please tell me what
Yeah.
about Becoming Light inspired you, or what interested you about it.
Okay. So around COVID time, salons, at least here in Texas, we were closed for 10 weeks. It pushed me into this very like radical healing journey. I started working with
Okay.
an intuitive healer,
Right.
and I mean, really started questioning if I wanted to come back and do hair at all.
Totally.
Yeah, I was very much like, yeah, I don't know if this is for me. um, but I, of course, went back to work, and it was just a really hard time. And I think that any hairstylist would tell you that it was my most unfavorite time, not favorite time of my entire career, because everybody was so angry. They
Yes.
were angry if we were wearing masks. They were angry if we weren't wearing masks. They were angry about the door being locked or having to wait in their cars to call to say that they were there
Hmm.
for their appointment or whatever. People were just angry all the time. And so
Yes.
I really started to focus on me
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
what I was in control of, and not being responsible for other people, and really just started
Mhm.
working on myself. And through that process, my best friend and I, who also worked at the salon that we were working at together, the Aveda Salon, we started a company called Badass Ladies Club. And it started out as a podcast, and we did 100 something episodes. You can find us on Apple and Spotify. But that podcast turned into this like mega healing journey, which turned into hosting international retreats in Costa Rica
Mhm.
for women, and owning our sacred feminine and our divine feminine. And that has been wonderful. So then when I went on my own, I started Badass Beauty and Healing to kind of
Yes.
go with my Badass Ladies Club aspect.
I love it
Um,
so much.
so it's all kind of tied together. But what got me into becoming light was I had seen your advertisements or things pop up on Facebook and Instagram for about a year probably before I
Mhm.
joined. And I was always like interested, but a little skeptical.
Sure, of course.
And um, I didn't really feel that need or that push to do anything about it
Yeah.
until I started realizing that my badass beauty and healing business wasn't the business that I wanted at all. I was like, I'm badass beauty and healing, and I'm doing like no healing work. Like I might as well just be badass beauty, because what what's the healing aspect, and how can I bring that
Got it.
forward to my clients?
Got it.
Um, and I just didn't know how to integrate the two. And then I think one day I saw another one of your ads, and I was like, yeah, okay. And I was just like, all right, okay,
Same.
fine, universe, fine. Um, and yeah, I got the holistic hairdresser, the accelerator
Mhm.
program.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that led to a blueprint call. And basically, it just felt aligned with what I needed to incorporate both my beauty and healing businesses, and kind of come out of the energetic closet, if you will,
For sure.
and really own that part of me in front of my clients and have it integrate into my business in a really seamless way.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, obviously it's because of your amazing look, but I think one of the things that we both agreed upon during our time together and becoming light was our love for Kim Kardashian and our
Yeah.
love for her really owning her business acumen and really just the way that she moves in the world. And we even talked about this ideology about like what is a healer, right? And like, oh, like, how do I come out of the closet if I don't quote unquote like look a certain way of like what we envision like a healer to look like? Because I
Mm-hmm.
definitely thought a healer looked like somebody who was very soft spoken, who maybe wore natural fabrics and fibers all the time and like zero makeup and just maybe didn't care as much about the outer aspect. Um,
Same. Yeah.
and I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you maybe found that a little bit in your, spiritual communities as well. You were like, here I am with like, my face is fucking done.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I show up in
You're like,
my
welcome to the
healing
yoni
circles.
steam with my fucking
Right.
eyebrows.
I mean, and I I love my community here in Dallas Fort Worth, and I do feel like I stick out like a sore thumb a little bit, because I do show up to events and circles very much made up, and everyone else is wearing, like you said, natural fabrics and flowy dresses and like
Totally.
their hair all wild and like no makeup and absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and just
Totally.
owning who they are.
Yeah.
And that's not me. I like to look a certain way. I have a certain aesthetic. And so
Huh.
it just, this was really awesome for me to have a community of people in the beauty industry who value that side and that beauty is healing. And
Oh, 5,000. 5,000.
yeah, and I especially feel that because I mean I'm in full glam now and no one would be able to tell, but I was born with a port wine stain birthmark on half my face,
That's right.
right? Yeah,
God.
so I was teased relentlessly. I was constantly called two-face. Like I can't even look at Tommy Lee Jones anymore without like
Hmm.
you know
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
um
course.
having that reaction because half of my face is pink and purple and I have texture and all these things. And so once I was able to um like dive into beauty as a teenager, like it was, and
Hmm.
I'm not lying, like I'm not saying this lightly, it was a life-saving situation for me.
Hmm.
Because it's hard to look
Yeah.
different and constantly have people say what's wrong with your face. Like that's not fun
Yeah.
for anybody.
No.
So yeah, beauty is healing and beauty can be life changing and life saving. And so, I mean, even more so why Becoming Light was super aligned with my story
Hmm.
and that I want to listen. I mean, not that I'm saying like I'm going to save all my clients' lives or anything, but I want I want my guests to know um, my story and how deep it is for me, and that I can hold
Sure.
space for that.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Since you're already touching on it, why don't you tell me about what the process was like for you in Becoming Lighter, things that you really liked, because you were also emceeing a major hair event, like in
Oh,
the Midwest Awards. You were
right.
also getting a breathwork facilitation certification during your time in Becoming Light, and then you're showing up to calls and like totally restructuring
Yeah.
your business. So please let
Yeah.
me know about, as obviously the vibration of your business just shines through you, which is great.
Okay, so I am a gradually then suddenly kind of girl.
Amazing.
Yeah.
you
Um, I definitely, and like I even annoy myself with it. Like I will put anything and everything off. I will put it off. I will put it off. I will put it off. And then one day I'm like, I'm ready and I'm ready to do it all and I'm ready to do it right now. That's just me. And it's obnoxious and I'm working on it. But so it's like the minute I joined Becoming Light, it was like, oh, this breathwork facilitator training came up and it was like a 4 or 5 day thing. And I was like, right, I'm going to do that too. And then the
it's so
Midwest
common.
Hairstyling Awards, right? Like the Midwest Hairstyling Awards came up and I didn't MC that event, but I was on the production team for it. And I was the
Oh,
Vanna White and like passed out all the
that's
awards.
right.
And
But
like
you were
I was
like
very,
keeping everybody on time and kind of being like, okay, now it's your turn to
right.
go on
Yeah. And like,
stage.
and all the things. Yeah. It was like the minute I became a part of Becoming Light, the universe was just like, let's do all the things. And I said, okay. Um, so yeah, Becoming Light was I'm not gonna lie, it was, I don't want to say difficult to integrate. It took a lot of planning and structure that I hadn't had like since leaving my
Mhm.
super structured like
Mhm.
commission salon job,
Correct.
which is great because I do think that artists need structure to an
Sure.
extent, right? So the calls were, they were easy and interesting and accessible, and it was so good to feel like you're in it with people.
Hmm.
Um, that you're like, oh, I'm not alone in this, and they're having the same issue or feel the same way, and So yeah, integrating it at first was just like a structural commitment.
Yes, because we
But
had to rebuild your foundation because you were booked out to the nth degree
yeah, yeah,
forever, forever and ever.
for as long as time goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
but
everything was just like a crazy game of Tetris. And I was like, how do you
right.
get a breath in for yourself?
I didn't.
Mhm.
But it also, had to move my Thursdays to Wednesdays, which also messed with the becoming light thing. But I did my best. That's what's great about becoming light, though, is because you record the calls. And so I was able to still be there without being there live and, like do all the
Well, yes,
things. And
that was one
yeah,
of the things
so
about in the beginning because your intention is to be present for Adelaide. And we
right,
did you to restructure your business in order to actually call that into manifestation.
right,
So
right.
I'm glad that you were able to do that. Why don't you
Yeah.
tell us about some of the results? Like, what are some of the results for you
Oh,
as a result of your time of becoming light?
yeah. So, I mean, I'm still in the integration process. My clients have really enjoyed even the more relaxing, I would say, like spa element to it
Hmm.
that I've taken from you. Even outside of the energy work, just because, like I said in the beginning, um, my clients that were with me in my Aveda days, like this is all very familiar, right? They're like, "Oh my
Sure.
gosh, you're bringing that back. You're bringing that back." I'm like, "Yeah, but better." So the eye masks and the aromas, they're really enjoying. And I brought back hand massages and like all that relaxation, and they're enjoying that a lot. The ones that I have integrated the energy work with, they're a little skeptical in the beginning. I have a very conservative clientele that isn't totally educated in this, department of
Hmm.
um, what energy is.
Yeah.
Um, and so it just takes like well, let's just give it a try. And if anything, you'll feel more relaxed. And they're like, okay. And so, but the results of that have been really great and people are really loving it. And I had a really validating experience. I had one client that I had the pendulum and I was reading her chakras and how they were spinning, and
Hmm.
because she was telling me that she was feeling a lot in her heart space, but her heart space was spinning beautifully, like really great, and so but I read the rest of it, and her solar plexus and her third eye were um, spinning in the opposite direction, and at one point even stagnant and not moving at all. And so when I sat down with her and talked about it afterwards, I said, yeah, actually your heart space was really good. But I said, but your solar plexus and third eye were a little out of whack. And she said, well, what do you think that means? And once we talked about it and talked about um, like her own intuition and willpower around a work situation that she was having, she was like, like the dots, this is all making sense. And it was a really validating experience because I was just grounded and trying to channel with my highest being and her highest being of what the message was, and we kind of came together and talked about it. And it was a really beautiful, validating experience. And I can't wait to have more of those.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
important that people who are in maybe more conservative or Bible Belt towns who are feeling called to this work learn to get over that fear, right? Because we'll have that
Mm-hmm.
fear and it'll create a story in our heads and then we don't share it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I
know?
mean,
And
and
then
that's what
when we
kept me back
finally
for a long time.
yeah, and so when we finally step over that hump and we just, have the what we think is an awkward consultation, which might not even be how your client is receiving it, but we get over that moment and they say yes. And then you realize
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't die.
You're
like,
right.
you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. Oh,
I
okay,
can
this is
totally do
working.
this.
So
Yeah.
it's really cool to see that you're doing that and you're kind of getting over that hump and you're getting the results with your clients. Like that's incredible. And that you have
Yeah.
the frameworks, to make that happen in a way that
Yeah.
feels good. Cool.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. Tell me more. Tell me about how did you like how has everything been since like you restructured the business and all of that? Has it felt a little bit better now, like you can breathe easier?
Yes, since I stopped double booking and taking one client at a time, there are only very few instances where I'll still do that, and that's like with married couples or like if a mom brings in their
Yep.
kid or
Your child. Yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yeah.
then I'm double booking and that's not really a problem for me. But ever since I restructured my schedule to not be doing that anymore, I feel not burned out, which is different for me because I feel like, gosh, and it's so weird because once I started working for myself in my own home salon, I felt like all this freedom that I hadn't had before.
Yeah.
And, but with that freedom still came this price of burnout because I was cramming people in to these really rigid times that just didn't make sense and weren't working anymore.
Right.
And so being able to take one guest at a time and really invest in that time with them and be present in that time with them has been super amazing for me and my business. I think that people like that. People want to feel paid attention to. And
Yeah.
especially here in my home, like, I don't want to send people out to my living room anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
go sit out in the living room while I take this other person and then I'm playing musical chairs. And, maybe in a commission salon the way I was working before, that was a little more okay, only because I had a team to hey, can you rinse this person out for me? Can you help me formulate or mix this color, whatever the situation is? But, you know, um, I'm on my own now and I just explain to clients that I need to do what's best for me. And I felt like what was best for me and for them was to be fully present and to not do that anymore.
Nice.
Yeah.
Talk to me about big picture. How has this impacted the rest of your life?
Um, Big picture, I feel like and it'll take time to get there, of course, but I feel like guaranteed income and stability is a big part of that. I have
Yeah.
other dreams of creating makeup lines and other things that I want to do for other streams of income. And to do those things, I need money.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So to give myself a guaranteed income to grow and to make other possibilities um, manifest and come true seems within reach now. You know what I mean? And it just feels really simple. I feel like my life has been simplified and that I can breathe, which is different for me.
Yeah.
Very weird for the breathwork facilitator to be like, oh, I can breathe now. This is great. So yeah, it has, but big picture, I do feel this sense of stability and knowing what to expect.
Mm,
And
that's nice.
not scrambling, thinking, okay, well, I have this person coming in for this service, but maybe if I add on this, this, and this, and perform in this way, and they'll tip me this way, and you know what I mean?
Mm,
Taking all that out is really simplified and streamlined, and it's very nice.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, would you do Becoming Light again?
Yeah,
Sweet.
absolutely. Yeah.
What advice do you have for people, especially because I love it when people come into if I take the blueprint call, I love when people tell me like, yeah, I've been following you for like a year, like 2 years, like sometimes 3 years. I'm like, oh, I'm like, what is your
Right.
advice to the people who are watching it?
I would say that, first of all, like, and not just with salon businesses, I believe in coaches for everything.
Yeah.
This was not my first coaching program. I've done Kathy Heller, I've done Amanda Francis. So I've done money mindset, I've done made to do this, I've done different coaching programs that are so beneficial.
Mhm.
Um, so I say for anything, a coach is a reflection of the investment of a coach is a reflection of how you value yourself and your business in this situation, right? And that the investment pays off. Like, I mean, there's just no other better way to invest in your business, in my opinion, especially being an independent artist. I've
Yeah.
never worked for myself before, and
Yeah.
I had only been used to working in spaces where I had someone above me telling me,
Yeah.
this is what you're charging, and this is what you're doing, and this is how you're going to get
Mhm.
there. And this is, well, I don't have that anymore. And so it was really great to have a mentor space with you to kind of guide me through that process. But now, knowing your processes, I feel capable enough to keep that going and making those decisions for myself, because I didn't know
Yeah.
what all went into the math and making those decisions.
Mhm.
So I would say to anyone who's sitting back and watching that you're worth the investment. Like, you as an artist and you as a business owner, you're worth the investment, and that becoming light is worth the investment. Because I mean, not just from a business aspect, but I was really impressed with the mega Rolodex of all the healing modalities that you cover.
Thanks.
It was really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's 10 years of my life that I've like rolled into it. And like
Yeah,
everything, and I use all of
it
those
shows for
in
sure.
the salon, like still. Like I do everything that you guys do, so that means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible. I got a little emotional just like listening to you. It's so incredible. It still gobsmacks me like after like 4 years of running this, like to watch people change so much. Like you've changed so much. Like, do you feel that?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's incredible to watch. I'm really excited for what you do next because I know that this has opened up so much for you. It's just I'm so excited. Like I cannot tell you like enough just how excited I am for how 2024 is going to go for you. Truly.
Yeah, same. I am so excited for 2024 because it's it's go time in
Yeah.
2024. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
really, by 2024, there's not going to be any more like, oh, well, this person hasn't experienced, like, no, everyone's going to have the experience by then. And,
Mhm.
you know, um, a new chapter, new beginning. I'm really excited.
That's amazing. If people want to stalk you and love on you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is at Badass Beauty and Healing. But you could also find me on Facebook if you want to friend me on Facebook, Jessica Weckerlin Boyk, Boyk. And yeah, you can find me on all the things.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.